What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. Welcome to my Week 2 DFS NFL Picks video. Last week's video was very on point. It was awesome. Aaron Rodgers did pretty good for us. Derek Carr did okay. Cash games, we just kicked butt. Spencer Ware, D'Angelo Williams, all did good. So last week's video was a success. Let's hope to repeat that success this week. If you guys want to see the personal lineups I use for cash lineups, make sure you guys follow this link right here. It's on fantasycouch.com. So go ahead and go there. I'll show you my top 15 GPP stacks every week. Show you some salary cap differences that I point out. So please check that out. Only if you want to see my cash lineups. That's totally up to you. I'm totally cool with you guys just watching this video, knowing my picks. I use a lot of these picks in those lineups. So appreciate you guys watching the video. Make sure you guys like and leave a comment on this video. As you guys already know, we like to pick the kicker and defense first. We like to go with cheap options. Gives us a better idea of our average remaining salary. Then we pick the other players. Let's go into my week 2 picks. For kicker, my number 1 kicker this week for highest points projected is Stephen Gostkowski. Unfortunately, we probably won't be able to use him. He's the highest price kicker, extremely expensive at $5,200. So I don't suggest to use it. Maybe in a GPP, yeah, you know, I just don't really like that. It's too high of a price. We don't like to do that. So I got 3 minimum price kickers. All 3 of them are good. I got Josh Lambo, Dustin Hopkins, and my favorite kicker this week is Jason Myers. Very accurate kicker, very good on a Jaguars team that I see having a better week this week than they did week 1 against the Packers. So Jason Myers going up against the Chargers. Great weather conditions there. $4,500 minimum price. Let's stick him in. You can change him later, but let's stick him in there for now. For defenses, number 1 rated defense has got to be the Seahawks. Lowest scoring game this week going against the Rams playing in LA. They're very expensive though, so let's look at some cheaper options. I actually really like the Rams defense. Let's definitely stick them in here. This is an awesome defense this week. You guys know defenses are inconsistent season to season, very inconsistent game to game, hard to project, hard to predict. They were terrible last week. The biggest bust when it comes to defenses last week. Let's stick them in. So this is going to be good for cash games and for GPPs because a lot of people won't pick them after the terrible performance they put up. So let's stick in the Rams D. Another option at $4,300 is the Dolphins defense. You can go with the Packers D at $4,400. One of my safest picks, so a good cash defense, would be the Patriots. I also love the Ravens defense, as I mentioned in my previous video for the waiver wire week 2 video. But like I said, Seahawks defense is my number 1 rated defense. But just like Gostkowski, price $5,200, little expensive. But if you can work that in, that's going to be really good. But like I said, I like the Rams D in a lot of different formats. Hey, I'm down to give them a try week 2. Like I said, not a lot of people is going to pick the Rams D. Let's go all the way back up to quarterbacks. My number 1 QB for cash lineups, the guy I'm going to rely on, is Eli Manning. The Saints have the worst defense, period. And they even have injuries on defense. Their starting cornerback is out. It could be even worse for the Saints defense. So you got to start Eli Manning in what's slated to be the highest scoring game. That is the cash lineup quarterback. His price at $8,100 isn't too bad. As you saw last week in cash lineups, I liked Aaron Rodgers. Extremely high price, but when it comes to being reliable, that's who I liked. And this week, same thing with Eli Manning, $8,100. Not a bad price. The weather conditions look okay. I'm not afraid of a little bit of rain that's going to come in the afternoon. But just double check the weather conditions Saturday and Sunday morning. Just make sure it's all good, because if some thunderstorms happen, crazy winds, that's what you really want to be looking at, is the crazy winds. Or if it's extreme lightning, extreme thunderstorms, just double check that to be safe. Other options I like at quarterback for GPP is Andrew Luck going against the Broncos. Nobody's going to pick him. Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott. Now a lot of people will pick him after his week 1 dud, and the price is not right. Sam Bradford, crazy GPP pick, dare I say stupid GPP pick. Jay Cutler, 6,800, another crazy GPP pick. To save money and consider in both GPP and cash lineups, I have Ryan Tannehill at 6,700 and Josh McCown. I wouldn't mind starting this guy as an alternate cash lineup. Josh McCown going against the Ravens, 6,000. That's basically minimum price. Let's just say minimum price as far as starting quarterbacks go. You can't find a quarterback cheaper than 6,000 that's going to start this week. For running backs, I have Ezekiel Elliott, Devontae Freeman, Mark Ingram, and Eddie Lacy, more of GPP picks. We can find more reliable guys for cash games. I would love to go with CJ Anderson and D'Angelo Williams. Those two guys are my good, kind of high price, but still good value cash lineups. Guys, I'm going to rely on. They're definitely going to have a high floor. I love those guys. Now we have some cheaper options though. So if you're going to spend up on quarterback and wide receiver, there's definitely some great cheaper options. Spencer Ware and Jeremy Langford, 6,800 and 6,500 respectfully. Jamal Charles is going to be out, so where's another good start for DFS? And even cheaper options, well, TJ Yeldon and Rashad Jennings. TJ Yeldon is 6,500. Rashad Jennings is only 6,300. Got decent floor and a pretty good ceiling too. 6,300, great value though for a guy I can rely on going up against the Saints. For wide receiver, you're gonna have to at least have one or two of these guys in your lineup, right? Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, and AJ Green. Out of those four guys, those are my top four wide receivers. You're just going to have them. Odell Beckham, great matchup against the Saints. Julio Jones, great matchup against the Raiders. Antonio Brown, the matchup doesn't matter. And AJ Green, those two guys are playing each other, the Steelers versus the Bengals this week. AJ Green, I think, has been improved. I think in division games, he's better. I'm looking at the stats here, and he's been putting up much better points against the Browns, against the Steelers, against the Ravens, and that wasn't the case a couple years ago. So I really think AJ Green is going to be a little bit slept on. I wouldn't dare call him a sleeper this week, but I definitely think a lot of experts may not put him as a top 4 or top 5 wide receiver. Shame on you, experts. Cheaper options though. Great cash game play is Jarvis Landry, a guy that doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but a guy who's going to get a lot of targets. In a game where the Dolphins will be trailing in Foxborough, only 6,500, that's pretty good. There's a ton of other options at running back and wide receiver. I'll go over a lot of them really quick. Crabtree, 6,200. Travis Benjamin, only 6,100. Tajay Sharp, only 6,000. A little bit more risky here. Aguilar, 5,600. Tyrell Williams at 5,400. Remember, Keenan Allen is hurt over there in San Diego. I love this pick again this week. Even though he failed last week, I love him this week, guys. This is a good one. Michael Thomas at only 5,000. If you don't believe in Fleener, I would believe in Michael Thomas here, guys. Only 5,000. Week 1, he got 6 targets and 6 receptions, so keep that in mind. Getting a little bit more risky here. Cole Beasley at 5,000. 12 targets last week. That's pretty good. Don't love that guy, but his price is cheap. Now, a guy I do love that's a super cheap price. I mean, not a guy I love to stick in my lineup, but a guy that will make that salary cap work for you is Chris Hogan, only 4,700. That's the cheapest guy I have on my notes this week for my DFS picks. For tight end, the cheapest guy I would go in a cash game would be Vance McDonald. More of a GPP pick would be Brent Selleck now that Zach Ertz is out. If I'm going to spend up, I'm really looking at Delaney Walker, 6,600. I think that's really good. I know you guys see Greg Olsen out there. Great pick, but a little too expensive. I sometimes don't like to spend up on tight ends. So I like Delaney Walker. Julius Thomas is okay. Gary Barnidge, high risk pick. I love him right there at 6,000 though. So it's, there's a ton of options. The prices are pretty close. So that's pretty much how I'm going to put it to you guys. If I'm going to spend up, I'm going with Walker or Thomas. If I'm going cheap, I'm going to go with Vance McDonald, maybe Brent Selleck. And another option right there is, of course, Gary Barnidge. The riskiest tight end this week with the most upside is, of course, Coby Fleener, but Who's going to trust that guy in your lineup if you're doing a ton of GPPs as an alternate lineup? Maybe you can throw in Fleener if you're feeling super risky. And those are all my picks for week 2. Make sure you guys follow the link below in the description and use promo code FANTASYCOUCH. Just do it anyways, guys. Even if you guys have been playing, I really appreciate you guys using that promo code. And if you're a beginner, you'll be able to enter in 5 beginner contests for free. Make sure you guys go to the link below, use promo code FANTASYCOUCH. I'll see you guys on FanDuel. Wish you guys good luck this week. Make sure you guys like the video, comment, also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Really appreciate you guys. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers. Peace.